This is a reading from the Curé of Ars by Father Bartholomew O'Brien. Chapter 20. Glory. In the world beyond, those terrible penances were meriting their glory. But in the world of Ars, those penances had left a body, my poor corpse, a mass of wounds and sores. The Curé of Ars had begged that no one undress him after death. He wished to conceal from the eyes of men the penances he had inflicted on his body for the souls of men. But the missionaries and the brothers had to deny his request. At 5 a.m, they had their spiritual father vested in cassock, surplice, and stole, and had him laid in state on the first floor of the rectory. For the first time, the curé had to submit to a photographer. Then an unending procession of the curé's children began, as they passed the bier in reverential love. They had time only for an Our Father and Hail Mary, so pressing was the throng. At their insistence, the religious brothers touched the devotional effects of the poor people to the precious relics of their pastor and confessor. Saturday, August the 6th, 1859, was the day of the funeral. 300 priests and over 6,000 people were present. As the body was carried from the rectory to the church, the procession seemed not so much a funeral procession as a gloriously triumphal one. The whole village became a church. The people, hearing the Sanctus bell, knelt in the streets, in the square, in the cemetery, wherever they found themselves. In the distance, the knell of the neighboring church bells could be heard, paying their respects to the memory of the beloved Curé of Ars. After the absolution, the casket was placed in the chapel of St. John the Baptist, in front of the empty confessional. On August 14th, the remains were lowered into a vault constructed in the middle of the church. The tomb was closed by a marble slab inscribed with the words, "Here lies John Marie Baptiste Vianney, the Curé of Ars." Before long, the ardent kisses of countless pilgrims wore away the marble inscription. In life, pilgrims swarmed to the confessional box of the curé. In death, they deluged his tomb, because the voice of the people is often the voice of God. The diocesan authorities were constrained to open the process of Father Vianney. On October the 3rd, 1872, Pope Pius IX declared the Curé of Ars venerable. His successor, Pope Leo XIII, said to the postulator of the cause, "This cause surpasses all others. It must suffer no delay. I greatly desire to beatify the Venerable Vianney." This consolation of declaring the curé blessed, however, was given to the parish priest of Tombolo and Salzano, St. Pius X. Nothing more agreeable, nothing more profitable could have happened. The saintly pontiff said to some members of the French clergy, "Not only to us, who for so many years have gladly carried out the duties of parochial ministry, but to the parish priests of the whole world, than to see this venerable curé invested with the honor of the blessed, the more so that his glory will be reflected upon all those whose life is dedicated to the care of souls." On Sunday morning, January the 8th of 1905, in the Eternal City, the humble Curé of Ars was declared blessed, to the resounding strains of the Te Deum, intoned by the thunderous voices of 30,000 people. 3 months later, on April the 12th, 1905, St. Pius X decreed the Curé of Ars the patron of all priests, having the care of souls in France and in the countries subject to France. On the desk of St. Pius X was a statue of his dearly beloved Blessed John Marie. "He is my companion, socius meus," said the Pope once to a friend. "Let us pray God to work as soon as possible, by his intercession, the miracles that will allow us to canonize him." Many years later, on December 20th, 1935, Pope Pius XI, in his great encyclical on the Catholic priesthood, said that it was the Curé of Ars whom we have willed to set up before all parish priests as their model and heavenly patron. Back in Ars, a beautiful church, which the holy curé had only envisioned, was built and completed by 1895. In the transept of the great church, the holy remains of the Curé of Ars were placed in a reliquary of bronze, the church's most prized relic. During the pontificate of Pope Benedict XV, the 2 miracles required for the canonization of Blessed John Marie were examined and found worthy to sanction the glorious honor of canonization. On the Feast of Pentecost, May 31st, 1925, 2 weeks after the magnificent splendors that surrounded the canonization of Saint Therese of the Child Jesus, the glorious honors of sainthood were conferred on the Curé of Ars. He who had matched in life the sanctity of little Therese shared her triumph in death. Teresian crowds had remained in the Eternal City to witness the triumph of that priesthood, to sanctify which Therese had dedicated her life. The same purple and gold hangings used at her canonization still adorned the vast interior of St. Peter's. The same silver trumpets stood ready to peal forth the glorious proclamation. At 10:30 in the morning, silence swept through the milling throngs, surrounded by a galaxy of 35 cardinals and over 200 mitred bishops. Pope Pius XI, as the head of the Universal Church and unerring teacher of all, broke the silence with the infallible and blessed words, "We declare to be a saint, and we enroll in the catalogue of the saints the blessed John Marie Baptiste Vianney." Then the vast throngs erupted with shouts of joy. Then the trumpets blared. Then the bells burst out in merry song, the beautiful bells of Rome, each bell seeming to sing, "Thanks be to God and His Mother Mary." A view of Ars as one approaches by the road from the east. The terrain consists of gently rolling hills, and most of the environs are under cultivation. The Basilica of Ars is seen from the main street when approaching from the west. An aerial view of Ars, with the basilica just to the right of center. The low portion of the building is the original parish church of the Curé of Ars, though even this was gradually expanded over the years of his ministry. Édition Le Curé et Fils, Lyon, France. This is a design of the church, I'm guessing. The interior of the parish church of Ars, looking back toward the main entrance. On the right is the curé's pulpit. The three arches enter into small chapels off the main church. Above, the chapel of St. John the Baptist. Below, the chapel of the Holy Angels. Above, the chapel of St. Philomena, to whom St. John Vianney was especially devoted, and to whom he ascribed all the miracles worked at Ars. Below, the chapel of the Blessed Virgin Mary, Our Lady of Ars. Above, the confessional where St. John Vianney heard the confessions of the women, located in the chapel of St. John the Baptist, to whom the Holy Curé was especially devoted. Below, the confessional where he heard the men's confessions. It is located in the old sacristy. The shrine holding the incorrupt body of St. John Vianney, viewed from across the nave of the basilica portion of the church at Ars. A closer view of the shrine enclosing St. John Vianney's incorrupt body. And a close-up view of the Curé's incorrupt body. The face is actually a mask. So, there's the first one. And there's the Curé close-up. The main altar of the basilica as it formerly appeared. The main altar of the basilica as it appears today. I'll show you both of those at the same time. chapel of the heart viewed from the basilica. Here reposes the heart of St. John Vianney, removed from his body in 1905, the year of his beatification. Also contained in this chapel is the famous statue of the saint on his knees in prayer, rendered by Cabuchet. The other caption says, Interior of the Chapel of the Heart. The Curé's heart is in the reliquary above the famous kneeling statue and between the two angels. The garden of the rectory, from which one enters the Curé's house. And the kitchen of the Curé, where he would boil his potatoes. The room of the Curé of Ars, much as it appears today. The library of the Curé of Ars, located in his room opposite the foot of his bed. Though he had but 2 years' formal education when he began studies for the priesthood, the Curé of Ars was well read in the faith, as his large library of well-worn books attests. La Crypte, the modern subterranean church at Ars, built to accommodate for Mass the huge crowds of pilgrims, over 500,000 come each year, and constructed below ground to preserve the flavor of the original town. La Crypte holds easily 1,500 persons for Mass. A view of the top of La Crypte looking away to the south from the yard of the basilica. Without having it pointed out to him, the traveler would never realize it is there. Chapel and house of La Providence, where Catherine Lassagne conducted, under the auspices of the Curé of Ars, a small orphanage. Ars, still very much the small farming town it was in the days of the Holy Curé. And that's it.